the pointlessness of corporate careerism, adherence to the great ball of BAAL, by the way, is what I mean. The great ball of corporate communism, corpo salvation, being indentured servitude to the machine, HR Karen's DEI initiatives, and the like. The veil is being lifted, and it seems like the people that are waking up to that truth is phenomenally homogenous. Doesn't matter race, color, or creed, men or women. I'm seeing content pushed by everyone. Everyone is fed up. In the YouTube videos, shorts, articles, everyday conversation, which is algorithmically fed. The data layer that is the ether above our heads in the quote-unquote prison planet, whatever you want to call it. The data layer that is our augmented reality. Everybody's pretty fed up with the system. This lie, indentured debt servitude. The thing that really black-pilled me about the whole concept of debt, money being a debt instrument, was when the Fed chair or the Treasury Secretary, someone casually, and in one of these Fed minutes that I used to follow them religiously because I was trying to buy a house at the time and I was very worried about interest rates. Unduly worried about interest rates, to be honest. And it was either Powell or it was Yellen or one of those people that is, they're pontificating endlessly, and for some reason we put them in charge of the inherent value system of our day being the currency, the thing we attach all of our personal esteem to, how much currency units we have. Net worth is a lie, by the way. But they very callously and very casually stated that the U.S. Treasury holds over $2 trillion in student loan debt, and that it was, quote, their greatest asset on the balance sheet. And that's when it clicked. It was about a year ago that this happened, I think. And I've been digesting that realization ever since, that the United States government considers your student loans their greatest financial asset. That broke it for me. I had always known that money was a debt instrument that wasn't inherently real, that it was pegged on nothing, printed out of thin air, it was a monetary unit. And the truism that if something seems needlessly complicated, then it is intentionally obfuscated in order to deceive you. In central banking, dollar derivatives, markets. I mean, just look up The Great Taking and have yourself a field day. Creature from Jekyll Island. How we spend our time vocationally, which time is the ultimate currency because that's really all we have, but how we spend our time vocationally is not pegged to anything that has any real value, because the fiat dollars, the currency, doesn't have any actual value. It hasn't since 1913, arguably since 1971, and then catastrophically since 2020. When you build an entire society around make digit go up at all costs while keeping expenses as low as possible, inherently you devalue the value of the worker's time. So at a basal level, our society is inherently valueless because the number one thing in the fiat currency is the number one thing that everybody cares about. The dollar figure that you make, how many digits you have in your bank account, how many digits you have access to through credit. M2 money supply is just credit markets. And as soon as they actually freeze credit markets, it's game over. No one's going to have money for energy, food, transportation, and eating is energy. Without energy, oil. Without oil, you don't eat. In 2020, in March 15th of 2020, I remember a couple days after that got announced, I went to the grocery store and it was empty. There was only Hawaiian buns sitting on one shelf and people, like 20-somethings, young people, wandering around looking forlorn and lost, like they couldn't figure out what to do. You know, our value system is inherently valueless. And what I'm trying to say is that when you predicate your entire society on a currency that's backed by nothing, that's inherently worthless, and then you convince everybody that through their whole life that the only thing that has any value is what they do vocationally, the first question you hear out of anybody's mouth is, what do you do? What do you do? I used to cleverly try to retort with something pithy like, you mean what I do for money? Which is all they mean. But people stopped asking me. I mean, that's just what it amounts to. I don't get asked that question anymore. I guess I have the look of someone who's professionally unemployed. Which, by the way, just start your own business. I'm serious. If you can't find a job, just start your own business, file with the state, get a Secretary of State's license, file an EIN. It costs a couple $100 in an internet connection. Get a liability insurance policy. Even if you have a total loss, which you can bill all of that against your taxes as a total loss if you don't have any income, you basically list yourself as an owner of a company, and voila, all of a sudden you have no job gaps, by the way.